Okay, we got to talk about Sam Merrill. And yes, I know that it's only a two-game sample size. Spare me. I do not care. He is performing like he is the second best player on this roster, which is crazy to me because after he received that contract that made him the highest paid 60th overall pick in NBA history this offseason, he's only making the eighth most in terms of pure salary this year at just a hair under $8.5 million. There are a lot of players making more money than Sam Merrill entering this season. Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, Jarrett Allen, Max Strus, and Lonzo Ball are all making more than Sammy Buckets or Money Merrill is at this point in time. And it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy to me because this man, after two games, is averaging 20.5 points and shooting 55% from three-point range. That is absolutely insane for the expectations in terms of what they were heading into the season. I don't think anybody, including myself, who's been a Sam Merrill truther or an apologist for a long time. I mean, I've been a day one here since he was signed by the Cavs. But this has blown past my wildest expectations for him, right? It has just been such a wonderful sight to see. Yes, it's a two-game sample size. No, I do not care. He has just looked like the player that the Cavaliers always knew that he and I know that he was capable of being. It's not even just on the offensive side of the basketball. We'll get to the defensive side too. But offensively speaking, this is a man who has just been unafraid in attempting the three-point shot, whether a defender's in his face, whether he is having to relocate. And he looks like one of the best players in the entire league at doing that, right? If you try to run him off the three-point line, is he going to attack the closeout 9 times out of 10? No, he's just going to relocate the basketball, step to his side, and pull the trigger. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to knock it down. And he's out there looking like, and listen, I don't like throwing these types of comparisons around lightly. I don't like doing it too often, but he is honestly, due to his two-way play, he's looking like Klay Thompson. I know that, that might sound a little bit disrespectful to Klay, who is a five-time All-Star, multi-time champion, made multiple all-defensive teams. And I'm not saying that Sam Merrill is that exact same type of impact performer on both ends. But we're getting that two-way ability that people have been suspecting that he was capable of being or contributing over the last couple of seasons. We're getting that now. And there were hints at it when he first joined. He did it all last year. The screen navigation was top tier. The perimeter isolation defense could have used a little bit of work, but he's even giving us that this year. He has limited his matchups to 11 of 26 from the field. He's seen time defending the best perimeter assignments out there, whether that be Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, or Cam Thomas. And he's brought his trademark screen navigation, like I said, into the fold. This is just such an insane start to the season for Sam Merrill. And I seriously hope that he continues to keep this trend going upward. Do I expect Sam to get 12, 11, 12, 10 three-point attempts each game? No, I don't think that's the case. Even when he is starting, I don't think there are going to be games every game of the season where he's getting that type of volume. But I don't think it's out of the question to get 6, 7, 8 attempts on a nightly basis, even if you are coming off the bench. And the threat of the three-point shot, right? Yeah, it's one thing to shoot over 50% from three-point distance, but it's another thing entirely in terms of the gravity and the sheer fear that teams are now left with, right? You cannot leave Sam Merrill unattended. They already knew this prior to this year. He is legitimately one of the best floor spacers in the entire NBA. But if you didn't know it now, or if you didn't know it before, you sure as hell know it now, because this is a dude, if you leave him open, he is going to make you pay. And I think teams are doing their very, very best so that does not happen, but he still finds ways to elude the defender, right? He is running around screens, making his defenders give chase. There's a lot of flare screen actions that have been set up for Sam so he can get out to that three-point line. He is cutting around, just darting around everywhere out there. And eventually he's going to find himself open for business, right? With passers like Lonzo Ball, with Max Strus going to come back eventually, Darius Garland, right? There are so many different connective passers on this roster that will continue to make use of that sharpshooting that Sam is able to bring to the table. That combined with the defensive capabilities that this dude showcases on a nightly basis out there, that's tremendous. you're getting one of the most impactful players on one of the most valuable contracts in the entire NBA, in my opinion, not just on the roster. As I mentioned, he is the eighth highest paid player in terms of sheer salary this year at a little bit under 8.5 million. But if he continues this level of play, there's no way that you can't feel like he is a bargain in the same line that, in the same way that Jarrett Allen rendered himself very quickly after signing that initial contract, a bargain on in regard to purely what he brings to the table. So for Sam, if he is able to keep this up, I think every single person out there that questioned this front office's decision making when they elected to choose essentially Sam over Ty, it speaks volumes because I think they loved Ty Jerome and what he brought to the table, but I think they legitimately feel as if Sam gives them a higher ceiling on both ends. Now, the floor might be a little bit lower just because of the pure dynamism that Ty Jerome often played with last year, but I think the ceiling from a two-way standpoint is certainly higher with Sam Merrill, especially if you're utilizing him the correct ways and you're not overplaying him at the three. And that honestly is what we have seen this season from Merrill. It has been a complete flip in terms of the minutes, right? Last year, and I spoke about this on the pod last night, the reactionary pod. Last season, Sam Merrill spent 73% of his minutes lining up at the three to 23 at the two. And this year, it's essentially flipped. And yes, again, I'm just going to say this disclaimer one more time. It is just a 2-game sample size, but he has played 74% of his minutes at the two, juxtaposed to 25% at the threes. Those two have essentially flipped. And that's exactly what you want to see, because when you're not overusing Sam at the three, and listen, the raw data supports the fact that Sam was a very valuable contributor in his minutes at the three, which is why Kenny Atkinson got away with this so much. But from a defensive standpoint, you're always kind of putting him at a disadvantage. And I think you no longer are faced with that with the depth that is on the roster. And as long as that is the case, as long as you're purely playing him at the two and sometimes the three, you're going to be just fine. And you're going to get everything you ask for and more from Sam, because we know he's a terrific defender of twos and he can handle some of the smaller threes out there. But this is exactly what they envisioned. I'd have to hope that this is exactly what they envisioned when they signed this man and when they essentially elected to bring him back on this multi-year deal that many people are losing their shit about. And so I hope that this trend continues. I don't see him, obviously, Sam is not going to shoot 50% from three-point range all season long. That would just be unheard of. That would be Steph Curry levels of greatness from deep. And he's going to cool off because we've seen him have these stretches where he goes 0 of 6, 0 of 7 from three-point range, but he continues to take that shot, and the percentage may dip, but it's going to go back up. And it's just peaks and valleys at times, or at least it has been in his NBA career. But maybe we're going to get the most consistent version of Sam yet. And I think the one lone gripe that people will have with him is being able to hit the swing shots, right? The momentum shots when they matter the most. And there were some complaints last night because he missed his final 3 attempts from range. But that is not one that I share. Anytime you're starting a season off 11 of 20 from three-point range, I think you're doing something right. And I think the defenses are going to only continue to give him more and more pressure out there, which in turn opens up the driving lanes for guys like Darius and Donovan. And we know that Lonzo is not necessarily a huge driver of the basketball, but when Strus comes back, he's another guy that can take advantage of that. Evan Mobley, he can take advantage of that in terms of that sheer ball handling capabilities that he has been getting more of. And mind you, Sam is doing all of this while not necessarily getting nearly as many touches as other players out there. I mean, seriously, Evan Mobley leads the team in total touches per game this year. Donovan Mitchell is a very, very close second, and even got, Lonzo Ball out there being able to do so. But Sam, he's fourth in terms of touches out there at 50 per game. I rest my case. He's doing a lot of this off ball, and he's easily looked like the Cavaliers' second best player through these first 2 games. You can even make a case that relative to what they are asking him to do, he may very well look like the best player on the court, and that includes Donovan Mitchell. And listen, I'm not saying that that is the case, but you can certainly make an argument for it based upon expectations, based upon role, based upon salary. There's a lot of different angles you can come at it with in regard to Sam, but he has been everything that they asked for and more. And I continue to believe in this guy because when I dropped my season preview on him, the thing that I said was that he is a true 3-and-D wing. And we can argue all the live long day about what the term wing means, but I consider a two. He is at 6'4, 6'5 on his best day. I consider Sam Merrill a wing because he has shown you the ability to play the two and the three. That's a wing to me. 3-and-D, elite 3-and-D wing. Klay Thompson level impact that you've gotten out of him these past two games. Hopefully that continues. Go Cavs.